I don't know why. There's two different screens here. The YouTube screen always looks better than the other screen. And they're the same type of phone and everything. But y'all know what to do. You can share this thing. We can get going a little bit. What up, what up, Bobby, Ruben, Jesus, Omar. Those are all my people popping up first. Pretty soon we'll see. What's up, Lorenzo? We'll see a couple of the haters. But what up, Ryan? What up, Derek? There's like two screens. I'm jumping back and forth. Kathy. Oh man, another beautiful night in Tampa, Florida. I ain't even went to the gym yet. But I guess I get started so I don't take up the whole night with this. But this one is pretty much what I'm talking about tonight. Is what's up, Carlo? It was funny yesterday. One of my friends hit me up and he told me that what's his name? Ty Lumley was basically referring to me and talking about how uneducated I was and the usual things that they do to try to cover up. What's up, John? Hey, much love, Carlo. And what we have to talk about is quite simply this: is that when it comes to education in the breed, they are far from educated over there. If some of y'all seen on that Debatable page that we went back and forth and had a couple arguments and all of that stuff, and sometimes I like to do the arguments just because I like to bait them a little bit. I like to give them an opportunity to sort of hang themselves and really show the community who's looking, to looking to get information. Sometimes you can get information out of a debate that comes out of stupidity, And after we got to past the point that we stopped doing the heated part of the arguments, which we canceled that out, and we started talking dogs, and I gave them the opportunity to attack with dogs. I mean, it was very easily shown that what our problem is in the community, not just with these individuals, but as the community, period. You see that, man, the Browns quarterback situation is great, Bobby. You shut the hell up. We got we got Brock and we got a couple young stars. We're going to pull something together. But, what it came down to is this. You have, especially, I'll address Ty right off top. He says people are uneducated, but what they want you to be is uneducated. They want you to be stupid enough to believe that really, oh, you know what? And I'm sorry, American Bully. Minnie, I really do have to start doing better about the show thing. It's just with so many things going on with the registry, and so for those who couldn't see, and she was saying that I need to let people know something about the radio show sometimes, or give an update when I'm going to do these things, and I get better with it. I got Bobby on my side now, and Bobby is the multimedia mogul, so he'll help me out on doing better with all this stuff. I just jump on whenever I can. But back to those guys. This is the problem. People at specifically the ABKC, they want the community to remain stupid. They want people in our community to remain stupid because then stupid things can be said. Amongst the things, like, now everybody won't know this, but amongst the things that were said yesterday is I put up a puppy of mine's, and it was like, oh my God, it was Khan, the great dog man Khan. He decided to take a shot at the dog, and he said, oh, he doesn't have a well-sprung rib cage, Well, first and foremost, that's part of education. Well-sprung rib cage is for the pit bull, not the American Bully. So, being that this guy has a dog that's supposed to be a Nationals winner and a bully icon and all this stuff, that, by the way, he always calls out people and says, what have you produced? And he didn't even produce the dog that he's pushing. So it's sort of funny, but the thing of it is this. When we get into arguments and debates about a champion that has a high rear, or a champion that has bad feet, or a champion that has flaws, or a champion that has, a bad attitude is a flaw, not having the right demeanor to show is a flaw. All of these things are flaws. Let's start off, and I'm not going to talk like I usually talk. I'm going to tell y'all, if y'all were standing in front of me with your dog, what I'm looking at. First of all, it's not just about the looks of the dog, but we will start off with the looks, and I'll tell you how the dog is how I break the dog down. What's up, Brian? The way I break the dog down is first and foremost structure. So I'm looking at how straight the legs are. I'm looking at the rear angulation. I'm looking at the top line. I'm looking at the tail. I'm looking at the bite. I'm looking at, even the length of the neck. And once you get these things in proportion, the next thing you do is you turn around and you sort of say, okay, we go to the aesthetics of this frame. And the aesthetics of this frame is basically, how does this all fit together? And as we know, some dogs are a little longer in the back than we would like. Some dogs, actually, the legs are too short or too long compared to the body size. All of these things have to fit. It's all got to fit like a puzzle, and this is all supposed to come into play when you judge. Now now after you get past these structural things, because this is the foundation of the breed and the foundation of the dog, then we go to smaller things, and the next thing I start to look at is the muscle density. And of course, you're checking it for things like if the dog got DQs, like no testicles or one testicle, different color eyes, the shape of the eyes, how tight the feet are, which I don't technically count that as structural. Just like with the tail, I don't count that as structural. But I start bumping it down more and more and more. Now, of course, easty-westy with the feet would be structural. But just the tightness of the feet is something different. That I consider that to be on a smaller scale. Now, as you work down through the frame, then you start evaluating if this dog fits the picture of bully. And the picture of bully has to be, does the dog have a big enough head, and does it carry enough muscle? Now, also, what I don't understand, since we started the ABKC, what seems to be something that is transformed is, we used to talk specifically about a tuck. And, all of us who have good dogs, we know what a tuck is. What's going on, Eric? We know exactly what a tuck is. T. And, that means that the dog is in shape. You can see nice muscle. You can see nice pulled tight skin, which is definitely a issue. And and you see the quality of the skin and all of these things. When your judge is breaking your dog down, he should be looking at every single thing. Now, if you make the cut, normally when I'm judging, say it's 10 dogs in there, by the time I've looked over the dog and by the time I've just looked at him without moving, I already know pretty much I'm down to 5, sometimes 3. I haven't been in a situation where I'm down to 1, because it's things that will make me eliminate a dog. It's already, if you bring a dog in the ring and the dog has a bad top line and a high rear, which they go hand in hand together, then most of the time it won't have the movement. That's already 3 flaws. That's hard for me to appreciate enough for me to go ahead and put you in the position to win the first place. My personal opinion is no dog with a bad top line and a high rear should ever be a champion, because it's too much going on. I mean, we see how bad it is. It's pictures of El Toro out there, and I don't care who gets offended, but when you see a side shot of El Toro, his rear end, and that's Denzel in the background sneezing, but his rear end is high and his top line is so bad. That is not what you want to represent your dog as a champion. When we think about champion in American Bully, we always think of the side shot of King Kamali, where it's a nice, very, very nice, and you see the robust muscle and the thick neck, and you can even see the cheeks popping out and the muscle engaged in the rear. See, that's what you want to see. You don't want your representation of what your dog is, a ass that's as high as his head. And that's why I honestly could never see a dog with that top line winning. The side stack is so important. Now, if we have 3 or 4 dogs and I'm judging and they get down to, okay, we all got good structure here, we got some beautiful specimen in here, now we're going to see them move. And movement tells you a lot, because even when a dog is standing, Bobby, man, I try not to read. If I'm missing y'all comments, it's because of Bobby's ass. Because I try not to read, because Bobby is just a local comedian, and he make me forget what I'm saying. So I respond if I miss anything later, because Bobby's full of shit. But after after you get past the original structure, and no DQs like eye color or eye shape or a bad tail or anything like that. Once you get past that, I want to see him move. And sometimes movement tells you everything. Like, you'll see a dog that's, switching like a hooker on Saturday night, and you're like, that's damn near eliminates you. And then other times, the movement thing just comes down to, if they're very close, one dog flows very nicely. That could be the deciding factor if it's very close. One dog is just so elegant in his movement and so confident in his movement that he performs, with his natural ability a lot better than the other dog. Now, I did mention performance. Regardless and contrary to popular belief, performance and temperament are flaws that can lead to disqualification. I don't understand why. I don't understand the logic that the ABKC has going on right now, where dogs are allowed to snap at their handlers, where they're allowed to snap at the judge and still remain in the ring and win sometime. I don't understand the logic of a dog that can be pulled around the ring and constantly fighting his handler and be handed a first place ribbon. If I am judging, that's a DQ. Maybe not the DQ that, well, if the dog snaps at me, he's going to get out of the ring. If the dog turns and snaps at his handler, he's going to get out the ring. Now, it's a big difference. If that dog turns and growls or shows a little aggression at another dog, that's okay, but you have to get him back under control. The reason that's okay is because these dogs, don't forget, are supposed to be pit bull origin. So they will have a little bit of dog aggression from time to time, which is not a disqualification. And I'm being totally honest with you that I would never hold that against a dog in the ring. If I see a male, some of the best dogs that I've ever seen and some of the best dogs that I ever judged, I knew for a fact that they just didn't like other dogs, and I never held that against them because of their origins and where they come from. In our breed, they're not supposed to be dog-friendly dogs. You hope that your dog can get along with other dogs better, but it's never a penalty if this dog decides, you know what, I'll bust your ass, because it's in his blood, it's in his DNA. So as long as you can control this animal getting back stacked and we're fine, it's a go. But it's an automatic DQ because of the dog's origins, where they come from. It's an automatic DQ if that dog shows people aggression, because contrary to popular belief, and a lot of times it's just nonsense, the pit bull is not a people aggressive dog. It's not supposed to be a people aggressive dog. Pit bull, if you study the pit bull origins more, pit bulls are actually known as being the nanny dogs, and they are known for being very gentle and protective of kids. So if this dog is not displaying these type of qualities, then that dog should be dismissed. It's not a person aggressive dog. And if that dog hangs his head, and if some of y'all seen my other videos, the hanging of the head, the pulling of the leash, dragging the dog around there, we have to call a timeout on that. It's not only that this dog is not showing confidence and he doesn't want to be there, so he shouldn't be awarded, but we also have to wonder about his temperament. Because if we talk about the pit bull / Amstaff / American bully, these are very proud dogs. They are proud dogs, and they are alert dogs. They are not known for having that kind of behavior to where you have to drag them to do anything. At most times, and y'all know the pit bull reputation of being a strong, a more aggressive, dominant dog. Our dogs should be the same way. Just like you seen Remy on the leash, and even in the old pictures, if y'all see when I got Hallie on the leash, most of the time the leash is very tight. That chain is pulled because it's something that's catching their eyes, and they're leaning forward to see what is going on. They don't care if it's a person. If it's a person, they are confident enough that they don't shy away from people. They're going to look a person in their eye and say, hey, what the hell's going on here? But if it's another dog, and that's what Bobby can tell y'all that, because he's got pictures of everything. Most of the pictures that y'all see, especially of Remy, that's what the stack off was. Everybody talking about let's do a stack off, let's do a stack off. The real stack off was not two dogs side by side. The real stack off was two dogs facing each other, and part of the reason that was is because we wanted to see, even though it was an American bully, if your dog was a cur. Because if your dog was a cur on a real stack off, that dog would lower his head down and he would sort of bow out like y'all see a lot of times with Rocco in the ring, where he sort of lowers his head and he starts to get a little bit. Yeah, that's what it was. It was a face off, but some people call them stack offs, and that's what we did. But it had a lot to do with temperament. You didn't want to see the dogs fight. You just wanted to say, hey, this is my boy, but watch it. He gonna let your dog know. It was just that type of thing. We would hold the leash very firmly, but your dog could not turn down to be a cur and lay his head down, and you got to pull him around the ring, and he pissing and shitting on himself in the ring and all. That was a no-no. And in the case of me judging, if your dog behaves that way, it's a DQ. Now, let me in dog terms, let me get y'all to understand why certain things are disqualifications. Of course, a testicle issue, a bad tail, those things were DQs for obvious reasons. You can't have a champion running around with one ball. That's just stupid. But the next thing why that became such an issue as far as the temperament went is because the show dogs are supposed to set the tone for what the rest of the breed is. So anything that you allow with the show dog champions is technically allowed with the rest of the breed. So as we've talked about before, Little Ro was very confident. I had to deal with Little Ro for a while, and Little Ro was very confident. Steroids, I'll talk about that issue in a minute. But one of the things is that 99% of the dogs that we have in this breed will never be show dogs. Their parents might be show dogs, and this is with every breed in the world. Their parents might be show dogs, and that's fine, but they won't be show dogs. They'll be going to people's homes. And this is why temperament and mental health is such an important quality. Because I tell y'all, some people, I get hit with that a lot. And then I pop out pictures and they be like, oh, I didn't know you had that. Yeah, we have dogs, but I don't look for show people with my dogs. And this is the reason. No offense to all of us who have been or are currently show people. But y'all know, like I know, a lot of the show dogs don't get treated the best. There are some of us who do love our dogs and take care of our dogs, but y'all go to shows and y'all see how it is. A lot of these dogs come and they look terrible. You can tell that they're not really taken care of. They don't have a bond with their owner. It's because these people are buying them more like cattle and stick them in a cage, and they never see the light of day. They don't even get out to run around at all. At least to run around in the yard and do normal things. They don't get to see outside. They spend their whole entire life in a cage. And then what typically happens is they come and snatch them out the cage 3 or 4 days for the show, give them a bath, and try to teach them how to stack for the next 72 hours. That's not a good thing. That's why some of these dogs are acting so strange at the shows, because they almost shell shocked. The dog is thinking like, damn, fool, I ain't seen you in years, and now all of a sudden you want me to stack and putting this damn hot dog in my face. Got this people over here yanking on my neck and kicking me and shit, trying to get me to stand still. I refuse to stand still. I've been in prison for years. And that's the way the dog's attitude is, because they're not used to this. But also the thing about it is, if you can't get this to work, as far as if you can't get this thing to work properly, as far as understanding every part of the dog, we'll never be successful. And what I was going back to saying, which I feel like is a very important part of what we're doing, is that the temperament on these dogs can cost us everything. I'm very proud that when I do sell dogs, that I rarely have people who get rid of them later. Most of the time I get pictures of the dogs laid up on something with pillows, and they got stuffed animals with them, they got little blankets, and they're living their life as a family member. That's a better thing to me than a trophy that means nothing. I know that this dog will be taken care of. When he's sick, he's going to the vet, he's going to eat a good food, and he's going to be loved and not just locked away. And That's the 99% that we have to worry about. And when you breed some of these dogs that are show dogs and advertising tools, and that's all they are, you know, these dogs are advertising tools for most of these puppy mill breeders. These puppies go out to everywhere off of these same dogs that we see, you know, basically trying to attack people in the ring, showing very, very bad signs of horrible temperament. Next thing you know, you just be pushing them off into the public. And I mean, y'all see me, and some of y'all are my friends, so y'all know me. You know, I love my baby to death. He's a daddy's boy, and that's my other best friend outside of his brother, my other best friend. And the truth of the matter is that we are confident that at any time you can leave him around the dogs. I mean, literally, he's got such a bond with the dogs that Denzel's crazy ass lets him. I'm stopping. I'm trying to break the habit. But when he was small, Denzel had figured out the way, him and Mandela, that they would help him scoot up on the bed. So he was literally stepping on their heads and they was pushing him up. And I got pictures of him sleeping with him and laying down watching TV with him. And that's what you want to send to somebody's home. You know, oh shit, here you go. See, that's why we don't y'all pay attention to that damn Bobby Deans. Y'all know he got a problem. A couple of them. That old ass washed up dog. Yeah, that old washed up dog. He back here now. But it takes, you know, it takes a community to take the dog serious. To stop worrying about what is sold, you know, and what's going to be sold. And I will touch on another topic, you know, outside of that show thing, which was just brought up, the steroid issue. Steroids is prevalent in this breed. Steroids are very, very prevalent in this breed. And Bobby will tell y'all, you go back 15 years and they was shooting up the dogs then. That's why, for real, a lot of dogs that you seen from back in the day, especially females that were very, very masculine, never had puppies, you know. They didn't know what they were shooting them with, and they didn't know the effects. These dudes were just getting steroids, and they wasn't talking to the local gym rat to tell them, like, hey, this is what you got to do. They were just like, oh, they going to get big, and they would hit them with the needle. What's up, Nikki? And they would keep hitting them with the needle and not even following normal directions. And, you know, the one steroid in particular that was being used at the time, this was a steroid that was used on cattle that you would only have to give one shot once, another shot in 6 weeks. And that, you know, the cattle was known to blowing up another 200 pounds before slaughter. You know, and the shit was powerful, man. And they was giving it to these dogs, and you know, Bobby, you've done a thing on that too, you know, to where it definitely makes them infertile. And what they were doing at the time, a lot of the early day shysters, is they would blow the dog up, and the dog would blow up and be about 15-20 pounds heavier than what he was, and they would snap all the pictures, and they would say, yo, you can buy this dog, you know, now. And they wouldn't worry about the thing about the reproduction thing, because, you know, they would always stud the dog beforehand and be like, yeah, you see, you got puppies right now, it ain't nothing to worry about. And they seeing these big name breeders and shit, and they thinking, okay, yeah, he legit, and you already seen the puppies that he produced. And, you know, they would see these pictures of these monsters, like, look what he grew into being. And then, yeah, Equigan, man. Strong shit. But I got some stories about that shit, man. But, you know, they sold a lot of people dogs. You remember that, Bobby, with the situation with Lou. You know, people was buying dogs, 25, 35, 40, 50, 60, $70,000 dogs, thinking that they bought the Incredible Hulk. And they would get the dog home in like 2 to 3 weeks span. They would notice, like, is my dog sick or something? Because the dog weight was just dropping, and the weight was just dropping, and the weight was just dropping. They was coming off of their stack. They was no longer retaining the water. The muscle was starting to deflate because there was no water. And it, you know, I'm not going to go heavy into steroids, but some steroids are like that. They blow the muscle up more with water. So that's why a lot of guys, or girls, when they come off of steroids, they shrink down some. Whereas other steroids that actually help build the muscle, and the muscle actually stays if they know what they're doing. This particular steroid was very, very volatile and strong to fill out the fibers and help a dog or a person or whatever retain a ton of water. So, me and Bobby, we had firsthand when we saw how mad Lou was. Lou paid all that money for that dog. He showed us the pictures of how that dog looked when they sold it to him and how it looked 3 weeks later. Man, whoo, it was terrible. That mug went from Mr. Bean to Mr. String Bean. That mug I like, you bought a damn lassie. You bought a collie or some shit. Yeah, like Sammy. Yeah, like I'm into supplements. That's my new business coming up. And yeah, and it's just like creatine. It's two different types of creatine. You got the monohydrate, and like you got crealkaline. And crealkaline doesn't make you bloat, but monohydrate will put weight on you immediately. You take monohydrate, and you just gonna water up. And I mean, it's good because creatine is for water function in the muscles, because your muscles work like a hydraulic pump. But at the same time, you got to do some work. Latrenda, okay, how you doing? I'm trying to. If I killed your name, I'm sorry. But this is all stuff that's in this dog game, and this is all stuff that's made this dog game like very, very terrible. If you pay close attention, and people have asked me, well, how do I know about the steroids, or how do I know how to get around? Just get enough pictures. If you get enough pictures of the mom, the dad, siblings, what they producing. If you see a big fall off in the overall size, and these dogs are not just carrying the muscle that the parent was said to carry, then you'll see what I'm talking about. I've often said this, and I don't want to be too controversial, but I called them out a year ago on this. All these people who brag and talk real tough and talk crazy and wave their pom-poms for the muscle tone dogs, where are their real big muscular dogs at? Oh, Wiccan was terrible. Wiccan was terrible. Wiccan was terrible. I'm going to touch Wiccan, then I'm going to come back to muscle tone. Y'all might not know about this dog named Wiccan, but I'm going to tell y'all what. Wiccan looked like a damn game dog. Now, if y'all Google her and y'all find her, it was a dog that Cruz and Dave owned. But this bitch in pictures looked like Godzilla. Big head, big everything. She was huge. But once she came off her stack, she went down and she was looking like Snoopy. And shit, I think they sold Wiccan for a lot of money. We knew the deal on Wiccan. And it was Cruz basically that was doing that, because what was her brother's name? The one with the blue eye. They was all them dudes. I mean, all them dogs was shot up. That's why you had an era where you had a lot of dogs that just didn't produce. They was all roiding up. And then they went from roiding up those dogs. You silly. They went from roiding up those dogs. And, they went to the bulldogs to try to add the muscle, because they found out so many roids killed the damn dogs. So now we got to add different dogs under a different name to try to do that. And like I told you, there's been plenty of them. But I told y'all many times, and the most evident thing today, and people can say whatever they want to say, but you show me all of these amazing, super muscled up dogs that look like Mr. Beans. You tell me. I tell y'all the same thing. You go find Arnold Schwarzenegger's kids. They don't look like Arnold. You couldn't expect them to. You know what I'm saying? They look like him in the face, but body-wise, they don't look like Arnold like their dad did, because that wasn't just genetics. That wasn't just genetics. It's the same thing with Mr. Beans. As big and as muscular as this dog was, you don't think if that was all real and natural that his kids wouldn't come out similar? They don't even have to come out exactly as what he is, but it's similar. The reason why they can't come out similar is because they don't have the same stack. They got to get the right kind of stack. Them balls went away. Y'all seen the pictures, everybody. Y'all thought I was lying. Then y'all start looking at his testicles, and his testicles disappeared. Like what LeBron do. and I've never said this to hate on a person, but the one thing I do hate is what it did to the game, because everybody, you know what I'm saying, everybody, yeah, well, see, if he was on the trend, then the trend would have kept him big, but that's a whole nother story. But all of these shiesty tricks have really hurt our game. And I'm going to tell you this too, it's another thing, and I pay attention to numbers, and I pay attention to coincidences. Maybe it's coincidences, but I'm going to tell y'all, I noticed this, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong when y'all think about it. The dogs that are being pulled around the ring, have y'all noticed that they have an excessive amount of mass? A lot of times when you at a show, if you see a dog that won't perform but he's hanging his head, he just don't want to walk, he looks like he's nervous to be in there, a lot of times they're very big dogs. Now you look up the side effects of steroids. It's not always aggression. A lot of times it can be anxiety that comes along with the use of steroids, especially in animals, because we have to remember, although we like to believe they are, animals don't have the intelligence of a human being. So when you start playing with their hormones and stuff, you're making a ticking time bomb. I mean, literally, some of these dogs, some of the most popular dogs, they all got the same type of issues that went on. A lot of them didn't want to walk, and a lot of them at times just snapped and turned on the person that was handling them. The person who had always dealt with them, this dog would just for no reason all of a sudden go off on this person in a show ring. Not even in a super stressful situation, the dog would just turn on them. This ain't no coincidence, you know. And the thing of it is people say, you know, I've cleared this up. I've cleared this up many a times, and I say it again. When people ask me, am I mad? You know, well, conditioning is one thing. You know, I do believe that a lot of dogs is fat as shit and out of condition, but at the same time, I think some of these things that they're doing to the dogs in general, even after conditioning, I think some of these dogs are losing their minds. I mean, people wonder what happened to Mr. Beans at that national show when this liar got to talking about that the dog got poisoned and he stacked him anyway. The lie was so ridiculous that, you know, he had to fall back off the lie. But one of the big problems with that situation is, I'm telling you, the anxiety. You think about it. This dog is in an air-conditioned building and he was freaking out, man. They rubbing the dog down with ice packs. His tongue is out. You can see his eyes going wild, looking around. He was freaking out, man. The dog was freaking out. We ain't seen him since. Y'all tell me I'm lying. I told y'all that way back then he was going to be up for sale for $1 million right after that show, which he was. We ain't seen him then. The dog, that was the end. The dog was losing his mind. What do we always know heavy steroid use for? Eventually a mug go crazy. But y'all tell me I'm crazy. Genetics don't lie. If those genetics was real and this was just great breeding done, it would be more of them. You see 1 or 2 or 3 of them type of dogs, and then it's over with. You don't see nothing off their line consistently producing this type of muscle. That shit is flawed up. Now, yeah, exactly. You would think with those kind of numbers that they would push out another dog. Now the biggest thing is that this damn Nick, man, yum steroid. Oh shit. But one of the biggest things is that I don't have a problem, and this sounds bad. I don't have a big problem with a Bashar, with a Khan, with a Fabian. And we not gonna sit here and act like that Fabian from Remy line is any different. Fabian has always been about money. That's why Remy could have been bred to a frog if that mother had $2,500. It just didn't matter. Fabian was always a businessman. He was always about money. The big problem where people fell out with that is that people didn't want to see him as a businessman. They believed in the line and truly believed in the dog more than they believed in Fabian. And that's why people got Remy line tattoos. That's why people, including myself, supported the dog, supported the movement as much, because I believed in Remy. You know, and we get jaded sometimes. We see the dog and we forget that the dog is not the one running the show. Everything with Fabian, it was out front and obvious. Fabian never had any other dogs off of Remy that he was pushing or held on to it or supported anything about Remy. He didn't care nothing. Remy was his personal dog, but he didn't care about Remy line. He wasn't trying to produce nothing or even be a part of all the Remy line people. It was a means for him to profit. He became the head of it. He looked at everybody else in Remy line as a farm, where, okay, I can't produce all of the dogs that I need to supply the world with my sales tactics and my popularity, but at the end of the day, y'all go and produce a bunch of nice Remy line blood dogs, which they definitely did. They produced a ton of great Remy dogs, and Fabian would sell them for inflated prices, $15,000, $20,000 a puppy. You know, give his people's day cut. He would take his cut home. It was a business. Once, Remy died and he made a couple not so good moves with the RKC, it all fell apart. And the next thing you know, we act like we was shocked, but I don't know why we was shocked that he went and got him an exotic. That was the next thing smoking. He had ran Remy line as much as he did. Yeah, Sammy, like you said, he tried to revamp thing first, and he saw that people wasn't feeling you screwing over Remy line. So we went, I'm going straight exotic now. One dog, one line. I mean, I think one dog, one line was just a slogan. I mean, a logo, not a slogan. Probably that too. But at the end of the day, it was like a lot of other things. Remy line was the better version of what Dax line and what the Miyagi line and that type of thing was. Those were things based off of money, not really quality. But the Remy line people did it with some quality. We y'all touched on my thing about Miyagi, and I mean, everybody knows that it's been many Miyagis. They need to stop it. The dog, nobody, look, I'm gonna tell y'all like this, and Bobby will tell y'all. Nowhere in the history was it ever heard of that Miyagi was a try. Nobody talked about this dog being a try ever. Then all of a sudden he popped up being a try. And if y'all don't remember, since we gonna get on Miyagi, if y'all don't remember a few weeks back, Miyagi 71. We might be there. But if y'all don't remember, thing as it paused because somebody, my brother just called me, said pause, that's all. But, this is my son hiding utensils. The baby is ready to stab some shit. But, Miyagi, this dude, man, it's been many forms of him. Most people don't remember the original Miyagi wasn't even really a pocket. The original Miyagi was damn near the size of Little Roll, like 17 inches. He wasn't that small of a dog. Then all of a sudden it got smaller. Then the markings changed. Then yes, I do agree that a couple of those pictures look like it's possibly the same dog, but it's a couple of them that's obviously not. One of the dogs has a marking that runs up the side of his neck almost like a blaze. You can't do that. Now Ed Shepherd, yeah, when Ed Shepherd said that was the funniest shit. Because poor old Ed, y'all know Ed getting old. So Ed thought he was coming in to help the Miyagi people. Like, that dog's not Miyagi. I bred the Miyagi a couple times. That's what Ed said. I know Miyagi, and Miyagi never had white paws. Oh, shit. Yo, Danny. Out here in this crazy weather. Man, I don't know why Ed ever opened his mouth. Ed opened his mouth to help, and they assaulted Ed. They called Ed all kind of haters, and Ed thought he was helping them out. He was telling them that wasn't Miyagi, but he didn't know that was what we were saying in the first place. So with him getting a little bit senile over there, they bombarded him. The Miyagi Nation turned on Ed's ass like a thief in the night. They got to talking about all the shit that he did. And oh man, it got ugly. I said, damn, these half exotic people, they don't even stick together. I thought Dax and Miyagi had got married. They made Dax Agi. Next thing you know, Ed was on the chopping board. How dare you talk about he ain't had no white paws, Ed? Man, that shit got ugly quick. I felt that was the first time in my life I ever felt bad for Ed Shepherd, because they busted his ass. I mean, they busted his ass bad. I said, damn. Next thing you know, Ed made a video and said he prayed to Jesus, and Jesus gave him Dax. I said, well, the way they busted his ass, I would have turned to Jesus too. But, but speaking of those dogs, that's like one of the problems why I said I don't have a problem with those people. Because they let you know what they're trying to do. They're trying to get some money. And anytime that anybody is out there point blank, plain and simple, telling you, I'm here to sell you whatever. I'm here to get rich. Look at my house. Look at what you bought me. Look at, they're telling you this. I can't hate on it. Because, it's no robbery in fair exchange. People who go to an Ed Shepherd or people who go to a con or whoever, these guys are that pretty much let you know I'm here about the money and this is what I'm trying to do. You can't be mad at those guys for getting paid because the people who are doing it, you know. Oh, now y'all gonna keep going with that. I ain't messing with that, Lewis. Y'all gonna keep on going with the Jesus and the Dax thing. Yeah, I ain't gonna say that Jesus told Ed the lie about Dax. I ain't gonna. I got enough bad things going. But Ed Farrakhan. Ed Farrakhan. Assalamu alaikum. But I mean, those guys, they are who they are, man. That Ed Farrakhan just, yeah, they are who they are. You know, they tell you they coming to steal the whole everything. They telling you, yeah, Bobby, you should have. But they tell you what they're doing, so I'm not mad at them. But I guess I say who I'm disappointed in is Dave Wilson and the ABKC, and I've said it a lot of times. You know, I would never, if I'm in the room and somebody jump on Dave, he's still my boy. I'm gonna get him up off his ass. But in these situations, we go talking straight about dogs. It's perpetuated by the registry, and I'm gonna tell y'all why. And oftentimes, I hear people with the registry try to hold themselves holier than thou with everything. But when you look at this thing, look at the biggest characters in this breed's history. Bashar, you know, very controversial, very much caught up in a lot of different things that we believe to be factual. Ed Shepherd, probably the least controversial, but we still believe a lot about Ed and the things that Ed did. George with Miyagi, super controversial, probably right there with Bashar. Now Khan is following in their footsteps and he tries to make himself super controversial. Now, as we look at all these individuals, the one thing that's all in common is that each and every single one of these people have been validated by the ABKC. Now y'all say, how's that? How's that? Don't y'all sit there and y'all let that damn horse with that damn little thing stuck on his forehead tell y'all it's a unicorn. That's a damn horse. Y'all slap that shit off Dave's horse and y'all say that's a damn horse. You stop making up these fairy tales. Because I'll point out each guy that I said. Bashar. It was well known that Mr. Beans, even out of Dave's mouth, Mr. Beans said that, Dave said that Mr. Beans had terrible confirmation and it was probably from putting on too much weight. But then your judges made him a grand champion and one of the winningest dogs of that year that he was in. So how that's a major contradiction. I don't care how his confirmation got messed up. It was messed up. Why didn't you step in and tell your judges, like, what are y'all doing? He has no business winning. You know, we seen capes on the dog. We seen ice packs in the ring. Nobody from the ABKC stepped in, including the head man who I'm telling y'all, nobody will ever say that Dave don't know dogs. Dave knows dogs and he knows dogs showing dogs. So for him to see this going on, I know that you know what's going on. You just choose not to do anything about it. You know, Bashar went out and made videos talking crazy about Dave and he runs the world and he's here to just just make some money. And what happens next? He's on tour with the ABKC and he's got his feet up on the Lineage desk at Nationals with everybody surrounding him. And Dave Wilson is promoting one of Bashar's dogs. Demon Boy comes from Bashar's camp. He's validated. All of the nonsense that normally would have got him shunned and kicked off of the scene was validated by what Dave and the ABKC was allowing. And me and Dave butted heads on this before. He's like, well, I'm not making the money and this, that, and the other. You validating them. I don't know your checking account, but you validating them. Now we talk about George. George, for the longest, was a pariah in the American Bully game with Miyagi. Now, yes, George has got caught sending out French Bulldog semen. He has got caught doing many other salacious things. And I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna pause that. You said why is the Browns starting? Because he's a good quarterback, man. He needs a second chance, and we have two young quarterbacks, so they would rather let him get his second chance and get beat up a little bit than to see our young quarterbacks take an ass whooping. So that's about it. You know, he's getting his chance, but we go straight to my man over there, Carolina man. But we go straight to what happened with George. And George forever, y'all remember this. Miyagi was not getting in. He refused DNA testing, all this stuff that's going on with Miyagi. We had never deal with Miyagi. We had never deal with Miyagi. That's bad. Today is Miyagi champions in the ABKC. And now if you listen to what George says he's validated. He always said that what he was doing was bigger than the ABKC and bigger than the American Bully, and that he would change it and they would bow down to him eventually. Even with him making those comments and about them, what did they do? They turned around and they let a blood in that they said they knew was tainted and they wasn't going to mess with it ever. It's gone. I mean, it's in there. It was the same thing with Bullseye. Bullseye was the first dog banned. It was for that reason. This is obvious. I heard it out there on mouth. It's obvious. It's too obvious. That's why he was the first dog banned. Now it's Bullseye blood in there. That's champions in the ABKC. You know, it's funny where you call somebody the devil, but then we not only do we walk in on you dancing with them, this was a party that you invited us to see you dancing with the devils. And every level. On every single level, we see you. You're not trying to hide this. You put it right in front of people's faces and you expect them to go ahead and be like, okay, cool. And some people do. Some people are naive enough. And those of us that call you on your bullshit, we call angry. You know, I get called violent or whatever. And the thing of it is that every dog that the ABKC has said or person that they said was something wrong with them or they was doing shiesty things, they validate them. Bashar was validated by the ABKC. Ed Shepard had a whole class made and he was being a judge to allow Dax in after they talked shit about Dax. Then later on when they got pissed at Dax, that's when they eliminated the extreme class because the Dax dogs was taking over. But then they made friends with Bashar and the extreme class dogs were then allowed to show everywhere else even though the rules were gone. That's why we have the controversy now because the extreme dogs are now being shown free and legal when the class was supposed to be gone because the ABKC said that it was wrong. We're going to fix the problem. They didn't fix the problem. That was another one of those lies and validations. And in the same years, we saw Miyagi blood be let in. We saw Bullseye blood be let in. We've seen a lot of exotic blood. And I will tell y'all this. Their poster boy dog right now, because it's not Mufasa. Mufasa wins and should be the poster boy, but Rocco is the poster boy. You take him over to Europe, you openly admit that the dog has an issue with his tail. We can obviously see that the dog has circular eyes, that of a American Bulldog. We obviously see that he has a high rear, a bad top line, and yes, he is one of those dogs that have to be drug around the ring. But you fly this shit all the way over to Europe and make it a champion. And guess what? Oh, 2 weeks before that, ABKC co-owner Cooper was printing up shirts with Rocco on them. The people are not blind. People see y'all nonsense and the bullshit over and over again. People are not blind. We saw Demon Boy shirts. How could we ever kick Bashar and his dogs out of the ring when the owners of the Registry is promoting a dog from his camp with t-shirts and everything else all over the internet? But yet still they tell you it's no conspiracy. It's nothing wrong. We don't care. We trying to make this. We're trying to make this the best. You know, Oliver, you can always say what I don't know, but the thing is that we can go toe to toe and you can tell me what you know. I love it when people come on and they talk shit because at the end of the day, I break it down from top to bottom. Because my knowledge in the American Bully game go deep. When a lot of y'all just come on and dick ride guys who y'all done bought dogs from and they done raped y'all, and y'all never gonna get the price of the dogs that they sold y'all, and y'all believe that y'all doing something. Y'all make videos and y'all try to get other flunkies that don't know nothing about a dog that can't breathe, can't walk, can't move, terrible conformation, gonna live for 2 years, and you trying to get that money back. Don't be mad at me because I'm speaking what I know and you getting fucked. See, because there's only one person here that's getting fucked. I do the fucking. Now, you just spent that money and you all over them boys and you loving them. Oh, I can't listen to him anymore. The only reason, and I say this 100 times for everybody out here, the only reason why y'all get mad at me is because I tell y'all the truth. I didn't make up these dogs with these high rears. I didn't make up dogs getting drug around the ring. I didn't make up Bashar with his feet on the table or Mr. Beans with ice packs. I didn't make up George sending French bulldog semen. I didn't make none of that. I'm not speaking nothing. And you can talk about being ignorant, this, that, and the other. I slap you in your bitch ass mouth because I speak the truth and I stand behind it and I take it like a man. Now you take it like a man because you come on here and you talking all that shit, but you ain't got nothing to back it up. I'm kicking knowledge. I can do this for hours. I can tell you all the way back to when these dogs was all 20 inches and 110 pounds. And I can tell you about now how they got down to 12 inches, can't walk, can't move, and y'all rolling out little pieces of carpet and can't fuck around. Your dogs can't even live 2 damn days. How's you gonna come on here and talk about somebody don't know what they talking about and you talk ignorant and you think that that's gonna work? Have you not seen what I've done to these people? Where's Bashar at? He tried to talk like you. He made millions of dollars off of these dogs and I retired his ass. Where's Mr. Beans at? Somewhere with an ice pack on, not wanting to fuck with me, because one thing that hurts in this world, if it ain't a right hand, it's the truth. And can't none of y'all handle that. So if you can't handle the truth, cut the station off and take your lazy ass on somewhere. Because it'll get real fast. Because the one thing about it is, just like Ty Lumley, just like Khan, just like all of them, when we start talking facts, that shit hurt. Because I break your dog down from toenail to the top. And you can't do it. Well, get the fuck out. Who asked you to come? That's probably a fake ass screen name. If you can't hear about real dogs and real shit, get your punk ass off that YouTube station and go somewhere else. You can go over to Dave Wilson, because if you got the feet, he'll make you a star. But I'm not here to kiss your ass. We keep it real over here. So as my daddy would say, fuck you. Mother had you, motherfuck you. So long, sir. Now back to all the real dog people. As we was saying. See, that's the kind of shit all the time where they make me take it to somebody because they be on that weak shit. We are real dog men here. I am not here. I love dogs. If you got a dog, y'all know y'all send me calling in. But at the end of the day, man, I'm sorry, hey, that was my son calling in. I'm gonna have to hit him in a minute. But but at the end of the day, man, this is why they get mad. This is why they angry. Because when you bring up a championship dog that got a kink in his tail, I did not make this up. I just brought it up. And that's why they angry. When you talk about all of these dogs with these high-ass rears, including El Toro, including Mr. Beans, including, I mean, we can go down the line. All these screwed up dogs. I cannot understand how a registry can sit there and talk about they worldwide and how great they are for the breed when the only product that a registry has is what you put in the ring. Your dogs are a representation of what you do. You say something, talk about it, and you do it. We see what you do. I would rather just talk about it. Because that weak ass shit you got with dogs with ice packs and all that shit, if that's your work, you should be ashamed of yourself. Because you're going backwards. I'm telling you, I never felt this way until recently, but I mean, like, so passionate about it till recently. But at the end of the day, man, a lot of these dogs ain't shit. I have an eye for it. I've been doing this too long. Not that I know it all, but I know enough. I know the standard for good reason. I got the credentials to do it. I go places and I judge dogs. This is what they want me to do. So as they want me to do these things, I'm going to be honest. I can't. Oh, man, I tell you like this, Jason. Masterpiece, for real, the only thing anybody will ever be able to say about Masterpiece is loose skin. And that's pictures really make the skin look worse than what it really is. Masterpiece he destroys them dogs. But instead of a dog like that getting promoted, they promote a bullshit dog that can't walk, can't move, high rear, screwed up. It's plenty of good dogs out here. The reason why Fernando went and jumped in the hole is because you can't stand it. You bring in a dog like Ruger, and they gonna say, well, let's let the female win instead of letting him win because of politics. A great representative, and I do believe that, you know, Sweet and Low is a very, very badass bitch. But at the end of the day, that was their plot. They've been putting together shows and picking winners before the shows for years. Why y'all think Ron Ramos is no longer there? Ron got tired of the politics. That came out his own mouth. I'm not dealing with politics no more. I'm gone. They made that long ass video talking about, yeah, Ron Ramos is gone and he's going to spend time with his family. Ron Ramos judging at the IBKC 2 months later. Over there with Kev Green a month later. He wasn't fucking with y'all. It wasn't nothing about going to spend time with his family. He spent time with his family all the damn time. He only gone for one day when he judged. Y'all act like the man is working at the damn Ford company or something, pressing up stuff. It's just crazy. It's just crazy, man. You know, every time this breed comes up in other conversations with other people, the thing that always kills this breed, is the greed. People who don't care to stick to the standard of what these dogs is about. I got energy now. I've been a little bit under the weather for a few years, going back and forth, but I feel great now, and I'm gonna give it to them. And they can cry, and just like that little silly ass dude that came on here and got his feelings all butt hurt, you know, hey man, it's all about dogs. If you got a great dog, I don't care if we ain't got along before. I don't care if we don't get along today. I don't care if I don't like you. If I'm in the ring and I'm holding that ribbon and you got the best dog in that ring, I have enough respect. I have enough respect for the breed. I have enough respect for everybody who's done things in this breed to make sure 100% that I give the ribbon to the best dog. I have to do that. If you're a judge, that's what you have to do. It's not about who you like. It's not about who gave you dinner last night, who you fucking and all that. You got to leave that outside the ring. You got to leave that outside the ring. In that ring, all you got as a judge is your pride that you take in picking the right dog every time. I told y'all a story. When I was in Mexico and I was judging a show in Mexico, I felt horrible. It like almost still hunt me because I had one bad decision that didn't change the show, but I didn't understand. You know, my Spanish is not great, but you know, I get along. But I didn't understand that it wasn't a reserve. So I handed this bulldog that probably weighed 80 pounds what I thought was the reserve ribbon. And it was actually the winning ribbon. And at this time, I'm sitting there and I'm asking the people like, well, where the other ribbon at? And it was a very nice, well-structured bulldog there. And to this day, the shit still hunt me because I felt like, damn, I gave the wrong dog a ribbon. But at that time, we had a discussion. They was like, well, is that bulldog going to win at the end? And they didn't want to sort of upset nobody, so we just went on head along with it. But I still felt like that the other, you know, because that dog didn't fit the standard. And the big bulldog, he looked nice. He just didn't fit the standard because he was too big. You know, but I had already decided that this Staffy was probably going to win. And, hey, come down to, when it came all down to it, that Staffy was like a world champion. He had won all around the world, and he was the most qualified dog there. So I damn sure didn't feel bad. And come to find out, every dog I had picked outside of those classes was the favorites for that show, and nobody disagreed. So I was happy with that, but that other one got me. But these judges, they don't take the pride and just picking the right dog. Nationals is going to come up this year. We're pretty sure that you're going to have a couple sleazebag dogs there. And hopefully you'll have a dog like Mufasa. And I haven't had a chance to see Bear in person, but a lot of people love that dog. I want to check him out. And I'm hoping that the Bison comes out fully mature and we get a chance to see him in there. I know Fernando's not going, so we won't see Ruger. But, you know, I hope that whatever happens, we see the right dog. Because right now what y'all see is a propaganda attack. It's an attack on the American bully. When you get a guy like Ty Lumley that sits up there, and I seen the post, so he can't lie. He made fun of the fact that, oh yeah, you know, we don't want dogs with more terrier qualities in there because we'll have a bunch of fights in the ring. And I said that on the interview, so I know I'm being redundant, but you sound stupid. It ain't a bunch of fights in the UKC ring. They don't have nothing to do with anything. Oh yeah, unless you want to talk about the eyes, you a judge. They got you judging nationals. What do you mean if you want to talk about the eyes? The eyes can be a disqualifying factor to whether the dog wins or not. The skin can be a disqualifying factor. Yes, temperament can be a disqualifying factor. All this guy knows is if the dog is big or not. Oh, we don't care. He over there swinging off of Rocco's nuts. He don't see a high rear. He don't see a bad tail. He don't see the eyes. He don't see a dog that won't move. He just it's ridiculous. And Dave, this is your head judge. This is your head judge. The same guy that you went on the man, exactly. Who is that? I'll tell you about him, Bobby, but he's a clown. But at the same time, this is the guy they got judging nationals. But this is the type of judge you have that he's on the radio show kissing ass to somebody who's obviously gonna compete, and then making statements like Asians don't have money problems. That's why I mess with them. But this is who you hire to judge your nationals, and he keeps talking. The guy don't have no more sense than an empty piggy bank, and he keeps talking. He keeps talking. You wonder why don't nobody want to come around? Because the shit, yeah, the health test is a scam. The health test is a scam. Oh, God. The health test is a scam. That was the best one. He done told the world that if you do a health test, it's just a damn scam. I can't understand it for the life of me. Ronnie, I'm going to message you right when I click this off. I can't understand it. You got people saying that health testing is a scam. How is this a scam? This is how we make our dogs better. This is how we make our breed better. How is this a scam? He said DNA testing was ridiculous. I don't know what I'm talking about. Why the hell would DNA testing be ridiculous for us to know where our dogs come from? But these are your leaders. These are your generals you go into war with, Dave. People who say stupid shit like this over and over again. That making fun of the flaws. Making fun of all of the things that we are supposed to be judging the dog on, and then bragging about how he hangs out with the Asians because they got money. Then health testing is bad. But this is your nationals judge. This is who you putting in the ring as at the very top of the heap. This is the best you got. God bless y'all. I hope Ron Ramos comes back. No, I don't, but y'all need help. If that's the best you got, I got you, Jason. Hit you up for sure. If that's the best you got, come on, man. I'm just saying, I ain't trying to be funny. I'm being serious. If that's the best you got, this is what you represent. Because y'all had to remember, I literally had a lot of money tied up in the ABKC and pushing this shit. I literally had to watch these guys do all these, I had to watch all these guys tear down something that a whole lot better dog men actually built up. Guys who actually used to care about the dogs. The guys might not have been the best organizers or the best businessmen or whatever, but as far as dog men go, a lot of the shit that you see going on right now, if the original crew was around, it wouldn't be going on at all. Not this shit going on in the ring. You might see some other weird shit go on, but just letting the dogs go terrible, man. Oh, yeah, Ron's not without sin. But I think sometimes when you got such a long history with a breed, you realize that you messed up. You realize you messed up. And I think Ron saw it going so far that Ron pretty much just, man, there's so many of them dogs. We can start naming off a lot of them. But Ron just sort of, man, I think he got tired, man. I think we all get tired, The shows right now are not good, This shit is all it's all somebody that got on Oliver. Hey, it is what it is, man. These people think that you owe them something. Yeah, Maestro, the king of dwarfism. You can't, if you can't speak honestly, and that's what I try to do on these shows. I try to always speak as honest as I can about whatever, And just like in the interview, if y'all seen, I speak honestly about my own personal problems and my own health issues and whatever. I'm not going to sit up here and just make up a bunch of lies and all that, because you can't stand on the lie. Eventually, you got to change the lie to cover a lie and to cover another lie. You can't stand like that. You know, I'm not a perfect person, but at the end of the day, one thing I've never done is sold out the breed. You know, y'all never seen me. I got an individual right now in my box. You know, that's you know, I got you, Danny. I got a person right now in my box who had a very, very, very nice Miyagi dog. You know, it's a Miyagi granddaughter. You know, easy money, but it won't happen. And sometimes I do. I don't know if I probably had that expression on my face. Like, I feel bad sometimes that I have to say no, even when it's a dog that I like. You know, but you have to say no. You know, over the years, I probably said no enough that I could have sent, you know, all the kids to college. You know, but at the end of the day, you have to stand for something. And one thing about it is, when I leave the dog game, the one thing y'all won't be able to do to me is what people do to Dave right now. You won't be. You might say he was an asshole. He talked too much. I take that, whatever. But you'll never be able to say that he sold out, or he bred to them exotics, or he let them exotics into his registry, or he did this. You know, he bred to that dog. No, that's not who I am. Yeah, I'm like everybody else. I like fucking money. Shit, we all like money, but you know, I also like being a man that I can look at myself in the mirror. I also like being a person that when I get on here and I talk to people who actually have some kind of respect for me and or whatever, you know, that I'm being honest with you, and you don't never got to worry about, okay, tomorrow we gonna find out that this guy got a camp of exotic dogs somewhere, and he been trying to sell us some bullshit the whole time. You know, at some point in time, you know, you have to stand for something. And 20 years ago, when I was a kid, and it was at the roughest time of my life, honestly, the roughest time of my life, I got through this shit by dealing with dogs. You know, I got through everything by dealing with dogs. And I do genuinely, like most of y'all, I have a real attachment to my dogs, you know. And I just can't see all of the work that we did, all of the legacy and everything that we did to push through this. I really can't see it turning into something else that quick, you know. I can't see it turning, you know, I just can't ever see myself turning my back on the breed like that. And that's my utter disappointment with some of them guys, is they sit up there and they smile on everybody's face and they say that they about the right thing. No matter how much you say you about the right thing, Dave, you're not. You're not. It's just that simple. You're not about the right thing. You're not about doing the right thing. Because if you was, a lot of the stuff that was going on would have been stopped. You know, Coop, you ain't about the right thing neither, because it would have stopped. You know, for you to sit up there out your mouth and talk about that this is what the American bully was always supposed to be. No, it wasn't. Don't forget. You know, don't forget. I ain't, you know, I came in, of course I came in after Dave, but actually, Coop, I was there before you. And the reality is, y'all know what the dogs were supposed to be, and y'all know why people is upset. Nobody is upset because somebody's making money. That's not what people is upset about. People is upset about it because, as far as our breed go, it's dirty money. That's what people is upset about. The fact that y'all can sit by without a conscience and see these dogs walking around this ring that obviously have terrible hips and health issues, and you know that our breed is going to shit, and a lot of these dogs is going to be dead as a doornail. You might as well just get big dumpsters because they falling out left and right, and the breed is going down. And yeah, people getting paid, but at what cost? You know, it's hard for you to campaign yourself and always pat yourself on the back and say that you love the dog so much, but you sold them out. Let's just be realistic. You sold them out. I'm just gonna keep it all the way 100. Demon Boy was nothing. You know, Demon Boy is not Dave's dog. I mean, it might be his dog in that sense, but he's not no edge dog. He's not anything that's invested into Dave. You know, he was employed to get money. He was a stud. You know, he don't live in Spotsylvania with Dave. Dave could care less about Demon Boy for real, because why ain't Dave doing a bunch of Demon Boy breedings? It's his dog. He was there to sell you that dream. He wasn't gonna do it. He wasn't gonna do it. You know, that tells you a lot when a man sells the world a dream about a dog. But now the Demon Boy thing has been going on for well over a year, year and a half, almost 2 years. Where's the breedings that they camp is doing with Demon Boy? You know why? Because they want you to buy the bullshit. It's the truth. I know if I had a badass stud, I'm going to do breedings with my studs. I do breedings with Mandela. I do breedings with Denzel. I believe in them. I think a lot of people believe in them. You know, I know that much. I do breedings with mine. Y'all ask me why ain't Dave Wilson got no Demon Boy puppies, but he want other people to pay a high stud fee to try to go after that. And where is all the Demon Boy puppies? It's no different from any of the other dogs. Where's all the Mr. Bean's puppies? You know, it ain't none because the shit don't produce. This is a mirage, man. This is how can we make a dog famous? You know, we're going to make somebody famous and we're going to sell as many studs off of them and bleed the market as much as we can and not think about the aftermath of all these bullshit breedings that you just did off of the stud. I know the stud seems like good money, you know, 5-10 grand, you just ship some semen, cool. You don't ever think about that that's another 5, 6, 7, 8 mutts out there that's unhealthy, running around with bad hips, terrible movement and can't do anything. Because they always tell y'all about the stud, but where are the productions? The productions always come out fucked up. You know? Just like I've always told people, and I have nothing against Dax, but I don't have anything that serious against Dax. Let's say that. But when you talk about Dax, it's been reported that it's like 3,000 Dax puppies. And we only know a few. What about all those other ones? I know people who had to take their 1-year-old dogs and put them down because the hips was so bad. Honest to God, truth, wouldn't lie to you. I know people whose dogs had heart murmurs on full litters and they had to get rid of them. I know another individual who had to put down, I think it was 7 out of 8 or 6 out of 7 puppies because the puppies had some kind of crazy hip disorder. So when we start talking about 3,000 puppies and different things like that, and this guy became a millionaire, it's always one part of the story, but let's talk about that other part of the story. And that's the part of the story that matter. Because as you talk about dogs and dog men and dog people, throughout our histories with dogs in any registry or whatever, and maybe just you as a breeder, the only thing that we have now is the productions. And it's no way that you can tell me that these dogs are better. The funniest thing about it is, and it's not funny, but the funniest thing about it is as this guy went on video and basically lied, because they showed the video where he said dogs were supposed to be this way, then it's another way the next video. But you have dogs that come from the era where they were true American bullies that have outlived 5 generations of these dogs that they promote. Literally. You have dogs that live today that have seen 5 generations of the dogs that was supposed to be the next big thing. We already know Miyagi done died 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 times. We already know that, so we can't count him. But the truth of the matter is man, I'll tell you this right now. I mean, it's great Dax grandkids out here now. Dax is supposed to be Denzel's rival. Denzel sleep right behind me. Dax gone. Sons is gone. Some of his most popular sons is gone. Heart murmur issues. Grandkids dying. Yeah, it's something that lasts. I know somebody gonna pull a couple out their ass like, oh, he's still living. Yeah, it's a numbers game. You know? It's a numbers game. You know? It's a numbers game. At the end of the day, health and quality is all we ever going to be judged on in our breed. And right now, we looked at as the worst of the worst. That's what we looked at. We looked at as the worst of the worst because we cannot ever in our lives make healthy dogs that can compete in the ring without looking to embarrass. And if we don't fix this stuff and we keep listening to, as they try to call me, a false prophet, guys like this Ty Lumley character and all these other people who say all the flaws don't matter, we sacrifice structure for bulliness and, you know, stupid shit like that, it'll be bad. We have to get better at making our dogs better. I don't care who wins it. Whoever wins it, I applaud you because you did your thing and you deserve it. But we need to get better. We need to get better. Yeah, that's the funniest part about that Dax thing. Before I go, is that DNA testing has gotten so good now that the claims that he is off of who he is off of, they can be proven now, because you can date back generations now. But they don't want to get to talking about that, man. That should be a whole nother ball game. But man, I thank y'all for giving me y'all time tonight. If you on Facebook, make sure you join the D-Line page. I will tell you it's D-Line Worldwide, but I will tell y'all that eventually that page name will change, and it'll later change to the name of the Registry, and we're gonna just jump it off of there. We're gonna give our page to the world, but we're gonna make it way more exciting now that Bobby is on board. He the master at that stuff, and I'm gonna be right there with him, and we got a big family who gonna follow through. But if you come to the page, you're gonna see we cuts up and we try to keep it fun, but we gonna have some serious dog discussions. And really, as I keep telling y'all about our registry, all we trying to do, man, is we trying to make our registry the best registry in the world for healthy dogs. No hype. I don't care if it's 5 of us or 500 of us. It don't matter about the numbers. We gonna have the best dogs in the world, and that's all I care about. But the bully rant on the YouTube page, it'll be like 12 videos that'll be uploaded to that thing. If y'all hadn't heard the story, Denzel attacked my computer for some damn reason, and so that's why I had to hold on to these videos. Oh, you getting senile? I don't know what the hell. I guess the computer pissed him off. He bit the damn adapter and ripped it to shreds. I'm like, damn. But hey, shit. When you that old, I guess you can mess up every now and then. But yeah, I holler at everybody, man. Call everybody and get in touch with everybody. And I catch up with y'all later. God bless all of y'all and y'all families, and y'all have a real productive week. Peace.